This is actually the first time I'm breaking down some of the animated loops behind the story scrolls on the One Last Monster channel. These loops aren't just background art. They're how I make Adin feel like a place that exists around the short film. The loop you're seeing here is a daytime scene in the Kashan Monastery district, an Adinian city far from the capital of Adin. The main inspiration here came from Gustav Klimt's Church at Kasson, painted in 1913. I've always loved the shapes and atmosphere in that painting, and it directly influenced the structure in the center of this loop you see here, the monastery itself. On both sides of the composition, you'll notice two tall towers. They're either weather forecasting instruments or mills. I haven't fully decided yet, but compositionally they serve a very specific purpose. One of the hardest challenges with these loops is adding motion without making the scene feel busy or distracting, or without doing too much animation work that would break my back. So I wanted elements on both sides that could move subtly, enough to keep the image alive, but not so much that it pulls away attention from the overall mood and atmosphere. With these towers and just the design of One Last Monster in general, there's a really strong influence from the games Myst and Riven. I first played Myst as a kid in the mid-90s and it completely blew my mind. Then Riven came out on 5 CDs and somehow pushed things even further for me. I'm still a huge fan. Those games have a very particular way of blending architecture, machinery, and atmosphere together in a really alien and fresh way. And that design language has stayed with me ever since. Now we're taking a look at the Dadong district loop here. This loop is focused on everyday life in Adin when the aliens aren't attacking. I decided to build this scene in an isometric perspective, which is something I first encountered playing SimCity 2000 and SimCity 3000 as a kid. Apparently today I'm doing a lot of classic game shoutouts, so there you go. Isometric perspective is a top-down view of an area in space, and it allows you to see everything in an environment all at once. I created a grid using this perspective, and I built my line art for this loop here. This loop took about 2 weeks to make because of the amount of detail involved. The architecture is inspired by Joseon-era Korea, as usual, but with my own stylistic spin. I'm especially proud with how the nighttime version turned out, because it required an entirely different color system, leaning heavily into deep blues and purples, while keeping the same line art intact. And if you look closely at the line work, you'll notice that some areas are very detailed, while others, like the stone street surfaces, are intentionally simpler. That contrast is deliberate. If everything in a shot was highly detailed, then the image just turns into overwhelming visual noise. But when you mix high detail and low detail areas in a composition, it gives the eye room to breathe and wander around. It actually makes the detailed areas stand out more by contrast. So with both the Kashan Monastery and Dadong district loops here, the goal was very intentional, to show normal life on Adin. There are fantasy elements for sure in both these loops, but there are no monsters, no battles, no alien invasions, or anything fantastical or epic. These are just ordinary days on this world. And so, why focus on something mundane and ordinary? Is that not boring? Well, I think visually it helps Adin feel like a place that is worth caring about, a place that exists beyond all the fantastical things that happen. When you've seen a world at peace, when it feels lived in, it matters more when it's threatened. It matters more when its heroes put their lives on the line to defend what they take as their home and their daily lives. It feels believable. And honestly, as a creator, it's some of the most interesting work I've done. You know, the big epic stuff is really fun to create, but I find that creating the small, ordinary details of a world that doesn't exist except in the imagination, doing those small details is as satisfying, if not more. And it's a really cool challenge creatively as well. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and consider subscribing. If you want to support the work I'm doing creating One Last Monster, please also consider joining our Patreon. I'll put the link here below. Have a great day and thank you.